Do you think the US government is going to default on its debt? That's a big question right now, and neither side seems to be willing to give ground in all the negotiations that are going on. A default would impact not just the US, but the entire world economy. With so much uncertainty, the only thing everyone seems to agree on is that we all feel a little bit like we're being held hostage. So, what if we were to tell you that using MKT Redline can tell you if a default is going to happen? That's a pretty bold statement. I'm here with my buddy Lee Duffy over in the UK, and we're going to tell you what's going to happen, and then we're going to show you exactly why we're right. You ready to do this, Lee?
I am. Let's do it.
So, Lee, when we're thinking about the implications of defaulting on US debt, what kind of disaster would this scenario create?
Oh, gosh, Ken, it's going to be a huge problem all over the world. Defaulting on debt repayments are going to hit the T-bond holders first, and that's going to have a massive impact in terms of liquidity in the banking system. This literally would create a cash shortage and payments would freeze up. It's almost like the 2008, where the housing crisis nearly caused a bank run on all the banks. So if the US does default, very quickly people are going to be able to find out they can't get cash out the ATMs, they can't pay it, and they can't get it out of their own banks. It's going to be a disaster.
So, we're not talking about just a problem with the banks, we're talking about an issue for everybody.
Yeah, the SWIFT system, it would be heavily impacted. All those countries all around the world, they wouldn't be able to send money to each other's banks just for a short period of time, but they wouldn't be able to do it. And that's going to be very bad for people because they just won't be able to pay for stuff on credit card or get money out the ATM. It's really doomsday. It's going to be problematic to believe that it could happen like this, but it could happen.
So, this obviously has a lot of people worried. I mean, it's all over the news, right? Well, we have the MKT risk index, so we know if it's going to happen. But, hey, Lee, why should people believe us?
Well, the MKT risk index is a volatility index based on international flows of money, and it's much more accurate than the VIX. And that index would literally start rising rapidly in the event that the world started to take action because they believed this default was actually going to happen. We literally see the index climb as people started to move money around. And almost certainly we'd see a spike on the MKT Redline gauge.
So, you're saying the MKT risk index would rise because it follows the money and it detects massive money transfers and defaults. Looking at the index today, it's actually below that magic number of 41, right, Lee?
Yes, it is.
Therefore, it's not showing up on the index. Globally, we just aren't seeing a looming default at the moment, right?
No, not really.
Okay, so if we did see a big spike on the MKT Redline gauge, what would that signify?
Well, if some people with deep pockets started to feel that the US position is changing and take action to move money rapidly and do it at a loss because they're liquidating assets really quickly, then we see the MKT Redline spike and all of our users would be immediately notified.
Okay. So for now, we can relax, but we will definitely be keeping an eye on the MKT risk index just in case, and on MKT Redline in case it spikes. So thank you very much, Lee. So there you have it. The world's markets are not pricing in a US default due to this debt ceiling problem. That means that the issues are going to be swept aside. However, if MKT Redline spikes, that will indicate a default is extremely likely, and you will have a very narrow window to move your money before all the market makes a massive correction. So we want you to protect your money. Stay tuned to what the market is thinking. And we want you to protect your portfolio, your 401k plan, your SIP, and any investments you may have in the market. So please go to mktredline.com and get the MKT Risk Index or MKT Redline Pro today. Make sure you subscribe because Lee and I make weekly predictions using our predictive analytics tool called Ghost, and we can check back the next week to see if we're right. And we'd also appreciate you clicking like for this video so we can get the word out. What we're trying to do is help people and help the most people we can protect their money. So thank you very much for watching. See you next time. This is very important to keep in.
You're doing great because this is so important.
Yeah, I'll go through it again.
Remember, this window is there to help them. If this happens, they could lose everything.